Clause 713, infrastructure. By way of introduction, let's just chunk up again. We're in clause 7, support. The first consideration in support are resources. And in this ISO standard, it tells us that there's 3 resources, or 3 main areas of resources. That is infrastructure. And in the infrastructure, we have an environment or environments. And in the environments, we have people working. So let's just go through the text of the 713 first. And then I want to talk about something that, or the intent of this subclause that may not, or I want to bring out and make sure it's clear. And again, the first sentence is the same as the others, is the organization shall determine, provide and maintain the infrastructure necessary for the operation of its processes to achieve conformity of its products and services. Same as the other sentences, it's just the word infrastructure here is here instead. And note, infrastructure can include buildings and associated utilities, equipment including hardware and software, transportation resources, and information and communication technology. Now, depending on the organization, there might be assembly lines, there might be production machinery, high-tech software for whatever reason. So it's just giving indications of what they are. But it's things that are there that are not consumed to make products and services. They're not eaten up. Infrastructure is often thought of more like an asset, that when you buy something that's infrastructure type, that it goes in the asset side of your balance sheet. The thing just to watch out for here is, you know, if you rent a building and you rent transport and you rent your hardware, IT equipment, and you rent it, this is still infrastructure from the business point of view, for how to run your business. This is infrastructure. Now, let me just go up now to, or talk more about what an intent that's here, and that is, it says, where it says determine, before you provide and maintain, you need to determine what infrastructure is required against all the transport, equipment, everything else, in buildings. To determine, you might say, oh, that's what we need today. But the clause is actually asking for something more, and it's this. It's asking us to anticipate. So if your senior management or managing director it's time to take time out every so often, and let's see, what infrastructure do we need in 1 year, 2 year, 5 years are we going to need? You may make a decision to, listen, we go for a 10-year lease because it's so much cheaper per annum than a 3-year lease. It's so much better. But how do you know what's going to change in a couple of years' time? What if your competitors are moving to outsourcing production to China and you have to stay competitive? You might want to not, have to let people go, downsize your employees, but it might be the way to survive for the organization. Now, suddenly you need a lot less employees, and then you need a smaller building. Or maybe you're growing the business, and maybe you're now committed to more and more production to deliver commitments to clients, to customers, and suddenly you don't have enough production space. Well, the clause is saying is anticipate. See where you can outsource production or expand and hire out a second warehouse for storage. So it's really all about, before even determining is anticipating, right? And again, with an eye on, it's looking at your processes from a process point of view, right? And the conformity of products and services is what infrastructure do we need so that we can be sure of that. And if you look up then, if we went back to general just for a second, and it says the 711, going back to it, is the capabilities and constraints on existing internal resources. So what are the limits? And are those limits adequate enough so that we can continue to run our business? And then it says in B is what needs to be obtained from external providers. So guess what? Anticipate your limits of internal, and anticipate in advance when you need to go to external providers. This is, we're talking about infrastructure at this point in time, is what infrastructure do we need to, because if it's left to the last minute or it jumps up and suddenly, then your negotiation position is far weaker than having lots of time to think and horse trade on prices or go to other providers around. So that's it in essence, is that it's infrastructure. The key word here is anticipation, and it's clause 713, infrastructure.